Hello my lovelies, it's Haley Reese, and for today's video I'm going to be coming at you guys with yet another video in my haunted house series. Today's video though is going to be a little different than the ones I've done in the past because I thought, why not share some of the good ghosts, spirits, angels, whatever you want to call them, that I've experienced within this house, and kind of give you guys the opposite side of the scary. While it's still spooky and eerie and might leave you up at night thinking, wow, this stuff really does happen, the ghost that I'm about to share with you today that lived in this crazy haunted house that I grew up in is a sweet one. And what we call her, and my entire family has called her throughout the years, is the woman in white. But before I get into this video, I just want to say, if you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Haley, and I would really appreciate that if you do like my videos, you go ahead and click that subscribe button. As I'm filming this video right now, we just hit 15K. I can't believe it. I have no words for the growth that we have. I love every single person that subscribes to my channel. Every time I get a message from you guys, a DM, you know, somebody saying that my videos have helped them, someone saying that they love my videos, or someone saying, hey, I joined. It literally makes my heart skip a beat. I cannot believe that you guys are clicking subscribe as much as you are, and I'm so thankful that you are. So if you do enjoy my videos and you would like to subscribe, it would make my heart flutter if you would hit that subscribe button. My heart flutter, oh my goodness, I sound so cheesy. Before I get into this story, I just want to show you guys now, because I know you're gonna see it and there's gonna be comments about it. I got a new tattoo! Yay! I got this tattoo for Mother's Day. I actually had it in my last video. I just really hid it because it was a surprise for my mom, and I didn't want her to see it before Mother's Day. I got I believe in you in my mother's handwriting from a letter that she wrote me at Christmas time, and the one thing about my mom is she has always believed in me, even when no one else did, and when I felt like the whole world was closing in on me. She was there and she believed, and so I got this tattoo for her. So if you see this in this video, well, you're gonna see it. I've just showed it to you. But that's what that is. So the woman in white was a female spirit that lived within the house that I grew up in, and she got her name, the woman in white, because when a lot of people would see her, or when she would make her presence known, most of the time what you would see walking by a bedroom or up a hallway or anything of the sorts was a beautiful long white gown on a woman. And so my family kind of nicknamed her the woman in white. This spirit was beautiful. I mean, I'm gonna tell you a few stories about her, and I can't even explain to you throughout the generations that grew up in this house, because my grandparents raised my mother and her brothers in that house, and then they raised me and my cousins in that house. I mean, I actually lived there with my mom, so there were actually generations that were raised in this house, and this woman was just incredible. So I can't wait to tell you guys the story about it. Also guys, if this is the first video in my haunted house series that you are seeing, I really do recommend that you go back and watch my first video. I kind of told you guys the down low and like what it was and what it wasn't with that house, and kind of how the house became what the house is. So if you haven't seen that video, I really recommend that you go back and watch it. I will link it below. But if you did watch that video, you know that there was a vortex in my basement laundry room, and that we had a lot of really amazing things and really interesting things that came through. And actually guys, I wanted to make a video on some of the like mythical things that we felt and saw as children, that a lot of us saw throughout the generations in this house. But I didn't know if you guys would be interested in hearing about like gnomes and fairies and things like that a lot of the kids, myself included, saw like as a child. Not a lot of the adults ever saw it, if any. I have to ask. But if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments below. Back to the woman. So my grandma was actually the first one to ever see this woman. Like I mentioned in my last video, that was because when my grandpa went to work and the kids were there with her, she was like basically the one that was always home, and a lot of the time she was home alone, so she was kind of more open to seeing things. The first time that she knew of the presence of this woman was the time that she was cooking in the kitchen, and she told me that she heard a woman singing in the basement, and it was a very beautiful angelic voice, and she was like, who is singing downstairs? And she went downstairs and she looked in each room one at a time, and she couldn't see anything. And as she was in the laundry room and she went to go turn around, as she went to turn, she just saw this white dress. Like, she kind of did see the body, but she never saw the face at the this point or anything like that, but she just saw this beautiful silhouette in this white dress just zoom past, and the voice continued with it. So that was the first time that she was kind of introduced to it, and she told the whole family. And my mom, as you'll learn later in this video, she was one of the most nervous out of all of us about these types of things. You know, my uncle, like I said, one of my uncles, there's two, my uncle is more of a skeptic. He tries to find reason and scientific explanations for everything. My mom and my other uncle aren't so much like that, but my mom is more nervous about it. I do have to say. My grandma and I are more open to it and we're excited about it, and my mom has just always been more of like a stand backish person. So when my grandma told them all, some of them were excited and some of them didn't really like know what to think or believe, but that was the first encounter with her. The woman in white wasn't seen every day. Like I said, there wasn't really a day that passed that things didn't go on in this house, but you wouldn't always see her. Sometimes you would hear her singing voice, sometimes you would kind of see the dress flowing, sometimes you would see her like in your peripheral vision, but it wasn't until things really started to go wrong where she would really make her presence known. The first story that I'm going to tell you guys about took place before I was born, and I'm not sure exactly how old my mom was. Like I said, wasn't there, but it was summertime, and like I mentioned in my previous video, we had a pool, and so my mom and her brothers, they went to go swim, and it was one of the first swims of the season. Now what they had inside their pool was one of those big tubes that like you could float around on and whatever else, but it wasn't like a, how do I explain it? It wasn't an inflatable tube. I mean, it was, but it was really, really hard and heavy. It was black. I'll try to find a picture online. If I can, I will insert it here so you get the visual, but it was very, very, very heavy and nearly impossible to flip over in the water. The years before, leading up to this, my mom had always dived through it because there was a diving board. So that was kind of her thing. She would do like a dive like right through the ring and head to the bottom and whatever else. Now this year my mom might have had to have been like 14 because I know that she had hit puberty and her hips had grown. And my mom went to go take a dive through the ring and she got stuck. And obviously for anyone that was there and my mom, it was just probably one of the most terrifying things she's ever felt. Like imagine being stuck upside down with your head underwater, your legs above, and you can't flip yourself back over because this tube is so heavy. So my grandpa jumps into the water and he's trying so hard to flip this tube over. Like he's trying with everything he has. This is his little girl, like she's about to drown. My mom's flailing. Like, oh, I can't even like imagine what he must have been going through, let alone my mother, like being the person trying so hard to help somebody. And my poor grandpa, that's actually his picture in the back, guys, if you've ever noticed. I know it's blurred, so you guys can't really see it, but he's just, oh my goodness, he passed away, but he is like the sweetest man in the whole world, and I miss him with my entire heart. But anyways, he's obviously not here to tell the story, but he was for many years. And he said that it was almost as if all of a sudden something gave a push. And it wasn't adrenaline, it wasn't his adrenaline, it wasn't that he suddenly got the strength. No, it was as if he was pulling the same way he had been, and all of a sudden the tube just flipped with my mom over in it, and my mom's gasping for air. And in the midst of choking on the water and gasping for air, my mom's looking around and everyone's like, what? And she's like, they're like, are you okay? And whatever else. And when she had finally calmed down, she said, who else was in the water? And my grandpa said, what are you talking about? She said, the woman. The woman helped you flip the tube. Who was it? And at first they all kind of thought, like my grandma and all the others, not my grandpa, they all kind of thought, you know, is she like hallucinating, or what, was she losing too much oxygen? And my mom said, the woman helped flip the tube over. And that was when my grandpa kind of took a step back and said, I felt like something or somebody helped push that tube, because there was no, oh, I'm gonna cry for some reason. That makes me so scared. That's my mom, you know, like that's, oh. He said there was no way he was getting that tube over, that it was so hard. And if you're wondering why it was only him, my grandma's like 4'10". She was like 80 pounds at the time. Her wedding dress fit me at the age of 3. My grandma's so petite. And so she wouldn't have been much help, and also she's not the strongest swimmer. And then on top of that, my mom had brothers, but they wouldn't have been much help either. They were just kids, if they were even there. I actually don't know. I never actually asked who else was there, because the story in itself was so remarkable. So to this day, my mom will swear that it was the woman in white. And it's funny because she's like, Haley, you can't tell these stories that I'm involved in. People are gonna think I'm crazy. And I'm like, Mom, they love it. They're gonna love you even more that you're in on this. I was like, don't worry, they're gonna love you. So if you guys like that my mom's letting you tell these stories about her, then maybe drop her a little comment down below, just giving her some encouragement. Like, you're not weird, we love it, we're all in the same boat, we all love this kind of stuff. For years to come, sometimes when, you know, relatives would come over, a company would come over, people would mention hearing a woman's voice singing, and nobody would really know whose it was. People would mention that they saw this beautiful white dress and this beautiful woman walking through the house at night. So this woman was a very obvious presence in the house, along with many others I'll share with you in future videos, but I wanted to share a more light, kind story. Fast forward to when I'm born, and I was an extremely colicky baby, and if you don't know what that means I cried nonstop. Like, beyond the normal baby crying, there's normal baby crying, which is a lot, and then there's colicky, and that was me. And we would later find out, we would find out, like, as if me being a little baby was in the meetings, like, so what's going on with me? They would later find out that that was because I was allergic to my mom's breast milk. But at this point in time, no doctors had really pinpointed that to be it. So I was an extremely colicky baby. And my grandparents had went away to, I want to say, Dominican, to be honest with you. They went to Dominican a lot. And so my mom had offered, because my dad was going out of town too, to house sit for them with me. So we were gonna house sit, just me and my mama. I was 9 months old, and they were gonna be in Dominican, my dad was gonna be away. The first day that we got to their house, I had a fever of 103 or 105. It was really, really, really high. And so my mom rushes me into the doctor's, and the doctor took my temperature and said, look, the temperature is very, very high, but she seems responsive, she seems fine. You know, we don't really worry about fevers in babies. Give her some baby Tylenol and put her down for a nap. My mom's like, okay. So my mom gets home, and you know, she kind of felt weird about it. Like, when she tells the story now, she's like, you know, I felt like that was a weird answer. We don't deal with fevers in babies. She's like, but I trusted in the doctor's office. So we get back to the house, and my mom puts me down to go to sleep for the night. And my mom's just kind of going about her business, and she hears the door to the room I'm sleeping in creak open. And my mom's like, oh my goodness, Haley is finally like sound asleep, like I'm leaving her to sleep. So she closes the door very, very quietly. She goes back to doing whatever it was that she was doing, and she hears the door creak back open. And my mom's like, why does this door keep creaking open? There's no draft, there's no AC on, there's nothing on, like why is the door creaking open? So she goes back and she peeks in, she sees me laying there, but it's really dark in the room. She closes the door. She goes to walk away, and this time, all at once, the door flies open and she hears a woman's voice say, help her. So my mom's heart sinks, because like I said, she's not open to this kind of thing, but she's like, what do you mean help her? And she runs into the room that I'm sleeping in, flicks the light on, and I am blue and unconscious. Completely blue and unconscious. So my mom goes into shock, actually, and she calls the doctor's office, freaking out on them rather than 911, because she's in complete shock. Her baby's blue and unconscious. So they call 911 for her, and I get to the hospital. Turns out I had meningitis, and I wasn't getting proper oxygen, and I was to the point of almost death. So that was just a long journey, and my grandparents, they ended up having to come home from their trip like 2 weeks early. They'd only been there like a day or two, and they had to come rushing home, my poor grandparents. And then my dad also had to come rushing home from the business trip. Not too long after that, my mom had a fear of me sleeping, and my mom wasn't getting any sleep because she was so concerned once I came home from the hospital that that was gonna happen again. She had this fear. And so my grandma said, I'll keep Haley in my room with me and I'll watch her for a night or two. So my grandma was watching me, and she woke up in the night. This was right shortly after I came home from the hospital, to see just a silhouette, because it was dark in the room and her eyes were adjusting. She woke up to see the woman in white with her beautiful long dress looking over my crib, smiling. And that was when my grandma and my mom knew that she had tried to get my mom in that room to find me and to make sure I was going to be okay. This spirit is a prime example, maybe of an angel, or maybe of somebody who had passed over that was a very motherly spirit. I really don't know, but I know that she was definitely one of the many that occupied the house and to this day, one of the many that make my heart smile, because, I mean, they're not always something to be afraid of, guys. I mean, trust me, sometimes there is, sometimes there really is. But here's the way I see it. You can't believe in God and not believe in the devil. That's a half-truth. You can't believe in half of something. We can't choose to believe what benefits us. We can't believe in angels and not believe in darkness and dark spirits. We can't believe in the good in people and not believe in the bad in people. Because unfortunately, there's usually in this world two sides to everything. It's what do you choose? You know, as a person, I know there's bad people in the world. I'm not naive to think that there isn't. But I want to be the good. You know? And maybe that's what she chose. She crossed over maybe, or maybe she's an angel. I don't know what to tell you, but whatever she is, she chose the good. And there were lots of times throughout my mom's childhood and my childhood that she came through for us, and she saved a lot of people. I know some of you might think that this is a little crazy, and I'm not here to tell you to believe in anything. These are my experiences. These are what I believe. I have such strong faith in the universe. And I believe in these things. I've seen them, guys. I've seen them. And that's why I've created this series, because this exists and I want to share my stories with you guys. Well, that is all that I'm going to share on the woman in white for today's story time. If you guys want to hear more about her, or you're excited to hear more in my haunted house series, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I get so excited every single time I see one of you subscribe. Like I said, guys, I'm not kidding you. I love and appreciate every single one of you. It's unbelievable. Like, you guys make my heart so full. I'm so thankful. And if you really did enjoy it, please give this video a big thumbs up. Like I always say, it makes me so happy when you do that. There are going to be so many videos coming, guys. I have so many awesome stories to share with you, and I really don't want you guys to miss when I upload. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until next time, love you.